Yeah.
We are seeing in Japan, Europe right now is ready to go with putting a ban on the bluefin tuna because the Chinese just love it. It is, I love sushi and sashimi, and it's like bluefin, baby. That's it. That's the gold standard. Well, they've eaten everything. Fishing stocks are folding up. The last remaining good fishing stock is in the Mediterranean. 80% of the fish that are being caught in the Mediterranean are going to sushi bars in Tokyo.
Yeah.
Okay. And now finally the Europeans are after it. Back in 2003 it was plenty. So if you stand back from it, remember something. Disinformationalists can only take you down rabbit holes if they grab you by the nose and they go, look at this little piece of something. Look at this little piece of something. Okay? Man, all that's going to do is if you're trying to understand the forest, what they do is that they say, here, let's stand at the tree line and bash your head on the trees until finally there's so much blood running off your forehead, you're going to say, I'm going to do something else today. On the other hand, if you're like me, I'm climbing to an opposing peak with a binocular, okay, and my iPod. Don't go anywhere without the iPod. And go up to the opposing peak, and I'm sitting there listening to Enya, and I'm just checking it all out with my binoculars, and I'm seeing the big picture. Okay? Mm-hmm. They don't want you to do that. They can't control you when you do that. They can control you when they convince you that you need to be down at the tree line beating your head against the trees. And that's how they control you. So for those that really want to understand this, and you come into awareness, take out the judgment. Stop trying to take sides. There's only one truth here that really matters, and that's the truth that resonates within you. And the only way it resonates within you is that you put it there. It's the result of you doing your own research and looking and thinking and contemplation.
Yeah.
And if people will just do that, it is the most important thing they can do now to save their lives in 2012. And here's why. Everyone thinks, well, that's fine. I'll go load up, go to Kmart and I'll buy my survival food and my batteries. I'm going to put it in the garage and that's it. Problem solved. Blue light special. Typical consumer thinking. Wrong. That stuff's going to last days, weeks, maybe months. And then after that, if you're not prepared to cope with what's going on, you're dead. All you're doing is delaying an inevitable end. But if you are thinking about it with an open mind, you're not letting your own cognitive dissonance, which is a nice way of saying, don't confuse me with facts. I've already made up my mind. You're not letting cognitive dissonance run your life. You are being a conscious creature. And you are looking and you are thinking, and then something incredibly magical and powerful begins to happen. Our brains are wetware computers. And when you are thinking about how will my family and I survive an earthquake, a tsunami, a flood, what are we going to do with these things? How are we going to deal with this situation and that situation? And you see yourself, you visualize yourself. And yes, that's a painful process at first. It's not a pretty sight. But as you do that, your brain begins creating new neural networks to process these thoughts. And so what happens is when things really do start to pop, you're not going to be standing there like the people did in 2004 with the Sumatra superquake going, wow, I see it, but I can't believe it. Someone help me connect the dots. No, if you've been doing your own personal research and you've been contemplating this, I don't care if you went out and bought a penknife to survival with. If you've been thinking about it, contemplating it, coming into awareness, letting that awareness take you to knowledge, letting that knowledge lead you to preparation. If you have done that, you will have created this incredible neural network in your mind so that when the guacamole starts hitting the fan, friend, you're going to look at it and you're not going to say, gee, I can't connect the dots. You're going to go, been there, done that, seen it, and I know exactly what I'm going to do.
And you can act on that right away instead of being shocked by the situation, whatever that might be, yeah.
Bingo. But more important than that, it gives you what I call the one-day advantage. If you're taking a one-day advantage. You're watching the news. You know, what we have a book, Planet X Forecast, 2012 Survival Guide. You know, the producers for the networks hate me for the book because in the book I say, and this is a former CNN producer, I say, turn off the sound. Play classical music, watch the video. It's going to work better for you because you don't have all the stupid idiots that are just about 2 seconds ahead of you with all kinds of idle nonsense and speculation. You're seeing the visuals. And the visuals are going to give you the information that's going to be really helpful if you know what to look for. And so you're looking for that. Now you take that information and then you're seeing something going on and you go, there's a threshold issue here. Okay, this is an actionable threat. And you have determined, based on where you live, where you work, where your kids go to school, you got to be local, but you see that threat coming. And what you do is you use this edge, this marvelous neural processor you have built into your own brain by just simply reading and thinking. And you know it's time to leave. And you know it's time to leave one day before. What does one day buy you? It buys you clear roads. It buys you ample fuel. It buys you ample food. It buys you accommodations and lodgings that are readily available so that you're in a good position when the guacamole hits the fan. And for everybody else that's going, this is nonsense, the nonsense will find them.
But in short, you do believe that the guacamole will hit the fan in 2012?
Guacamole's, it's already hitting the fan. You know, it's the old thing of being in a school. You learned how to boil a frog alive, right? Put a frog in a cold pan of water and just slowly heat it up, and the frog will just acclimate until the frog finally doesn't understand why it's boiling to death. The water's boiling. It's just not, people don't realize it. Again, it is part of the disinformation. Now, I'm going to tell you the people who can see through this. The people who see through this are, one, very successful people. I cannot disclose, because it is proprietary information, who buys our books directly, but it is a who's who. And I can tell you, these are people highly placed in insurance, finance, law enforcement, all kinds of areas. They're looking at this and they're preparing quietly. They're anticipating. The other ones that are doing it are retired government, retired military. Our number one demographic area for our website is the greater Washington, D.C. area. And the third group that's doing it are the dreamers, the ones who are having the dreams and having the visions. And for one reason or another, this knowledge is coming to them, and it's horribly painful for them because as an act of love, they want to share these things, these experiences with others. And what happens is that their spouses, their friends, their family members, their coworkers humiliate and mock them, ostracize them. And for what? A gift of love on their part. And it's ugly. And so, I'm already out there and have for years. The guys that got the money, trust me, man, they're getting ready. They're getting ready. You ask them, do you think it's really going to happen? They're not going to answer you because you're not going to find them. They're that smart about how they're doing it. About the government? Well, take a look at where people are retiring. Okay, all these folks that are in the Navy, where are they retiring? Gee, that's a little interesting research. The ones I can help are the dreamers. And I'd like to say to those of you out there who have had premonitions and dreams and visions, and I want you to please take away just these three things out of this 2 hours. If you take these three things, then you will have come so far ahead. One is that you are not alone. I am seeing a phenomena, and it is growing exponentially. It is amazing to me how many letters I receive from people having dreams and visions, all walks of life, all around the world, and it's increasing ever so. If you're having these dreams, you